So real quick, we'll just kind of explain what's happening here with double ante bingo for anybody who's unfamiliar. We have a bingo card here. Each runner is basically required to finish 2 rows or columns, or also a diagonal. That can be from top left to bottom right, or bottom left to top right. They have to finish 2. One of them will be forced. So the one runner will pick a forced row for the other runner, and then that other runner has to do that row or column, as well as another one additional that they choose themselves. So they've already assigned each other. Just to cover it real quick, Cross Product has assigned row 2 to Aussie. So Aussie is forced to do row 2. Let's read through row 2 real quick. Mass, what do we got?
All right, row 2, we've got high jump boots, speed booster, and space jump. Finish at landing site. 35 plus power bombs. Collect or skip both charge beam and spacer. Collect all 10 wreck ship super missiles.
All right, so that's a good one. And then Aussie has assigned row 3 for Cross Product to do. So Cross Product is going to be forced to do what?
Defeat Spore Spawn. Collect grapple beam. Defeat Ridley. Yeah, finish in Mama Turtle Room. Collect 11 combined energy tanks and reserve tanks.
All right, so both of those rows have a lot of things about them that are not fun at all. So we're going to get started here. It'll be curious to see what the runners decide to pair with their rows. Sometimes it's not super obvious what to do, but plus they have to think really hard. You know, they have to read the whole card over again now that they know what they have to do. So it'll probably take several minutes for them to decide what it is they want to pair.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that you have to watch out for when you're starting one of these is kind of looking for the tiles, you know, maybe these early criteria tiles, right? So like we see activate criteria save station. Is that going to be useful for anything? I don't know, but they need to figure it out quick because otherwise they're not going to be around it.
Exactly. Typically in all of my dab matches, I try to figure out exactly what I want to pair by the time I get to the green Brinstar Tower. But if there's a criteria objective on there, I have to make my decision quicker. That's right. So that's definitely a good point. Let's talk a little bit about some of these tiles, because sometimes tiles can be difficult by themselves. Sometimes they're not too bad by themselves, but in conjunction with something else can be really tricky. Let's start off with just the 10 that we're looking at here.
Sure.
High jump boots, speed booster, and space jump is not difficult, but it's very time consuming because you've got to do basically a full clear of upper Norfair, as well as get gravity suit, kill Dragon, get the space jump. So clearly that's what I would call more of a macro objective, because it spans a large part of the map, and sometimes, you know, you'll collect other things along the way, or you'll build your card around that. Finish at the landing site is also easy, but time consuming, because no matter where it is that you finish your last other objective, you're going to have to path all the way back to landing site, and it usually takes a while, even if you're in Meridia. 35 power bombs is one of those tricky ones because there's only 50 power bombs in the game, and if I recall, 10 of those are in Lower Norfair.
That's correct.
So basically, if you're going to get to 35 power bombs, you're going to have to get every power bomb except for one that's not in Lower Norfair, unless you happen to have a tile that pushes you into Lower Norfair for Ridley or Golden Teresa or something like that. Collect or skip both charge and spacer. Another thing that can be kind of tricky, actually. Sometimes skipping charge beam can get you in trouble, depending on if you have to fight Croc or something.
And that's one of those tiles where, you know, most people would say, well, if you have a choice, why would you ever skip charge beam?
Right.
But the synergy you can find, because we can have tiles that say skip charge beam, and you can find free, you know, basically make that tile free and get two birds, one stone situation.
That is a great point. The collect 10 wreck ship super missiles is also something that's not in and of itself going to be like crazy hard, but it does force you to spend a little time doing some hundo strats and going through the early parts of wreck ship to get those missiles. Defeating Spore Spawn is pretty slow, especially if you you know, accidentally mess up a few missiles and don't get a 2-round. Grapple beam, you know, what that translates to is you have to kill Crocomire, so that's a lot of waiting and cutscene. Defeating Ridley is probably, as I mentioned last night, one of the most avoided tiles in all of DAB. Going down to Ridley without a traditional speedrun route, you know, without necessarily picking up every single beam or more ammo, can be really tricky. So we're going to have to see how Cross decides to route that in. Finish him on the turtle room, another thing that's not hard to do but time consuming to get there. And then collect 11 total tanks, whether those are energy or reserve. I would assume at minimum he's probably going to include definitely the Brinstar Reserve and probably at least the Norfair Reserve into that location.
Yeah, certainly.
Because otherwise, collecting 11 regular energy tanks would take forever.
Yeah, now both of these rows have potential, though it's not guaranteed that you could potentially miss whole sections of the game.
That's true.
The row 2, technically, if you only do that one, you don't have to go to Lower Norfair, right? Which is always great to get to avoid that. And with row 3, other than Mama Turtle, technically you can pretty well avoid going to Meridian. Unless I miss it, I guess you could do that one without even getting, without even getting grapple.
That's a good point.
Cross likes doing stuff like that.
Yeah, Cross has, let's talk about these runners for a minute as they make their way to Green Brinstar. It looks like Aussie is going down real quick to do something. But yeah, Cross Product is very experienced in a wide range of Super Metroid. Oh, looks like Aussie is picking up this criteria save. Where is that located on the card?
That is in column 2, top of column 2.
So we are probably going to assume that based on that, he's either probably going to be doing row 2, or excuse me, column 2, or potentially row 1. Which one of those do you think fits the best?
I would think column 2.
Yeah, probably so. And that grapple beam also coincides with the power bomb pickup from Croc, which is a good one. But anyway, yeah, Cross Product is very experienced, not only with like any percent, 100%, but he also does a lot of extension categories, which I really believe those help when doing dab. If you have a lot of experience in those categories, a lot of times really minute, random situations come up where you could have some strats set up that can translate to some of these card tiles. Aussie, on the other hand, is extremely experienced in randomizer as well as a very good any percent player. And so he's, definitely got a lot of the speed tech down and knows how to get around and do some good routing. So I think this is a really interesting matchup between styles. Both runners grabbing their early super missile. Cross Product backtracking immediately, I would assume, to grab that reserve tank.
Yeah.
As part of his 11 he's going to need to get. And looks like he's going to pick up some missiles as well. The Collect All 60 Brinstar Missiles tile is on there. Are there any tiles that are just total missiles?
Yeah, I don't see any. It looks like 60 Brinstars is probably the most likely candidate.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on it, but that seems like the logical play based on what he's doing right now. And on top of that, he didn't pick up the beta missiles, but he's going to need that energy tank, so it probably would make sense to pick up those beta missiles later anyway.
Well, and if he's getting all 60, he's got to go get Billy Mays anyhow.
That's a good point. So in the meantime, Aussie is grabbing that charge beam. One thing I will point out, like when you're a well-versed Super Metroid, player who does some dab and randomizer and any kind of speed runs, the charge beam, when you skip it in a dab run, you would think it wouldn't affect you that much, but it actually affects a lot of rooms. You'd be surprised if you pay attention how many charge shots or pseudo screws you use in a lot of various places. And so you can actually end up kind of getting forced into awkward circumstances throughout the run if you're not used to not having it. So it seems something small, but it actually can add up over time.
Well, and I think that's one of those instances where, again, these extension type categories can really come into play, right? Because we see in those, maybe a little more often, things like 100 missile RTA, right, where you just skip charge.
Exactly.
So people that have happened to have spent time on that have backup strats, right, for, hey, what would I do if I didn't have charge?
That's right.
A pure any percent runner would be like, that'd be dumb. Why would I?
Why would I skip charge beam? Exactly. So here we've got Cross Product going through his Spore Spawn fight. He's hoping for a 2-round. If he can pull it off, he's going to need to get 1,000 damage roughly. Spore Spawn has, I think, 940. It's something weird, but basically you want to get 1,000 damage via supers and missiles. Missiles are worth 100, supers 300, so I think you got 1 or 2 missiles that first round. All right, got another couple missiles. I think he's going to get ready to use some supers here soon. Aussie, in the meantime, is heading over to pick up the Beta Power Bomb location. So now he has 10 power bombs out of the 35 that he's going to be trying to do. Mass, if you were in his position and you were, let's say for example, you were trying to avoid Lower Norfair, so you only had 40 to pick from, and you had to collect 35, which of those packs would you potentially skip, do you think?
Well, let's see. So we sort of determined that, that he'll probably be doing Crocomire.
Yeah, for sure.
Otherwise, I would consider that one. That would be the first one that kind of came to my mind.
Right.
Is there some way that I could avoid Crocomire? Pending that that's not the case, I don't know. What's the second most inconvenient?
I'd probably say the surface, maybe. The surface power bomb location, if it just depends on in what order you get it, but let's say you went direct ship first for some reason.
Yeah.
You wouldn't have speed booster. You'd probably have to infinite bomb jump up there. It's probably about a minute or so to go out of the way.
Well, I guess the thing for Aussie here, though, is that he's got to finish at the landing site.
That is a good point. I hadn't thought about that. So maybe by the time he gets there, he'd have the speed booster.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he has to have speed booster.
You're right.
And space jump.
Hey, look at you, man. So there you go. See, these are the kind of nuanced things that you have to think about to get a good route in. In the meantime, Aussie is setting up his horizontal bomb jump over the moat. Well done. That is one of the hardest tricks and sort of most stressful moments of any run if you have to go to wreck ship early without the speed booster or without grapple beam. But he's not out of the woods yet because now he's got to do a difficult Fantoon fight with minimal energy and with no suits. We've pointed it out many times. It doesn't matter how good you are at this game. It doesn't matter how much experience you have. You are never immune from potentially having a rough Fantoon fight. So
that's right.
We'll hope for the best here. And hopefully Aussie will have a nice fight here and can continue his run without any issue. Cross, in the meantime, has continued to collect those Brinstar missiles. I think he's up to maybe 45 at this point, or excuse me, not 45. I think he's at 35 maybe, 30 or 35. He's got to get the Red Tower missiles as well as, I just remembered, he's got to get the Kraid missiles.
That's right.
Yeah, so that'll be a little bit of a detour as well.
Well, and here's a decision that Cross is making. I guess he could be going Fantoon first, but he may be thinking about those Kraid missiles right now, thinking, I need to go ahead and get power bombs.
Yeah, that's smart. Plus, he has to go to Lower Norfair. Again, it just kind of depends. The routing depends on multiple things. Number one, what's most efficient. But secondly, sometimes people opt to not take the most efficient route because the most efficient route is exceptionally dangerous, such as going down to Lower Norfair with only the Various suit. So it just depends on what he chooses to do here. But yeah, he might be thinking, grab these power bombs early. Maybe, don't necessarily go straight to Croc. But he could go to Croc to get his first power bomb pack and then head to Lower Norfair straight from there. But it just kind of depends on what he wants to do. We'll see what he selects. In the meantime, Aussie cleaning up Fantoon very quickly.
Cross is actually in some trouble right here.
He is. Cross has to be very careful. It's going to take 10 damage to get a D-boost across. Okay. He's going to opt to not do a D-boost. Wow, nice job, Cross. Let's go.
Yeah.
There we go. Don't run into these guys. These guys do a ton of damage. Very good. And now he should be able to get 20 spot from his CAC. And now he's back in good shape. He'll get a super here. And if he gets touched by these hoppers, he will die. But assuming he stays in Morph Ball mode, he should be fine here. He'll drop this power bomb, get a double hit, and he's good to go.
And of course, they drop no health.
Of course. But he's in there. As long as he can avoid landing on some of these spikes or getting caught by the yapping maws here, he should be in good shape. Excellent.
All right, so let's see. Cross is doing row 3. He's already starting to accumulate power bombs. He's got 10 instead of just the 5. So is he thinking about that 35 power bomb tile?
I don't know. It's a good question. He might just want to have some extras, but we'll kind of see if he continues to collect. What does it look like to you?
Well, Cross is a big fan of Crystal Flash
I was thinking
clipping.
that. I was thinking that too. Pay attention to Osse's screen real quick. He's doing what we call the sponge bath strat. He's basically needing to get a perfectly timed bomb on top of this water. There we go, to get up here. But now comes the real dangerous part. He's in the spiky room of death. He does not have much health, and those spikes will do 60 damage. Luckily, he gets past. Let's hope that he doesn't have any trouble getting to the wreck ship energy tank. This is always a really nervous moment in a run when you go wreck ship first and then have to come pick up this tank. Looks like Cross is getting ready to head back to Blue Brinstar to grab that energy tank as well as the rest of those missiles, and he'll be done with his 60 Brinstar missiles.
It does seem like that's the case.
Yeah. I'm kind of hype about this. We haven't had a Billy Mays visit yet, I don't think, in any of these matches. So, and for anybody who's unaware, you will understand why we call them the Billy Mays missiles here shortly. Let's just make sure Osse gets through here. Very nicely done. Cross product with a perfect D-boost to get that energy tank. And he is in good shape. He's going to grab the beta missiles here on the way down, and right now he's going to head up to the Billy Mays location, which will hold 2 missiles. But if you didn't know that there were 2 missiles in there, you might think, hey, check this out. We made it into this room. There's a missile pack, right? Cool.
But wait.
But wait. There's more. And now he can make his way back to the John Cena bridge room. And now the memeing is over, unfortunately.
Right,
now it's back to business. All right, so Cross has grabbed all of the Brinstar missiles once he grabs this missile pack here. And he's in good shape. I believe he's got his 60 Brinstar missiles, so that takes care of the slot at row 5, column 3. And he'll continue on his way. Good to see Osse get through the spiky room, the bowling room with the spikes, so he's in good shape. He's got plenty of health. And he's going to grab his gravity suit here shortly. Cross has plenty of health, so he's not super worried about getting hit by those hoppers, but at the same time, he does need to kill them all to open that door, so he was going to use some power bomb strats there, and he's going to backtrack here into Green Brinstar. And I wonder if he's going to grab maybe some super missiles or power bombs here.
You know, I wonder, did he remember to grab the pink missiles right here?
I don't know. I guess we'll find out. I thought he did, but maybe I missed it. Cross is going to use some rando tech here. I say rando tech. You can use it in some different categories, but a lot of people in the SM community learn that trick specifically for rando because that's a major item location in the major minor split. But that's a 3rd energy tank for Cross. Getting a lot more comfortable. He does currently have 1 reserve, so he has 4 of the 11 required. And I guess we'll find out if he accidentally missed that pink missile pack earlier. It is up there. Okay, cool. And actually, it now makes perfect sense why he would have waited till now to get it, because it looks like he's going to be grabbing this power bomb
That's a
pack
good
as well.
point.
Yeah. So once again, you know, a lot of times the commentators are talking and the runners are going. I know there's been plenty of times where, you know, commentators have said, "Oh, he must be thinking this," and when I go back and watch the bottom, like, I wasn't thinking that at all. He knows better. He knows a lot better what he's doing than we do. So once again, the runner is right. In the meantime, Aussie now approaching green tower once again. Looks like he is going to head down and pick up some maybe energy tanks, super missiles, or power bombs as well.
Yeah, for sure we can expect the power bombs here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and again, I think at this point, the only pack left for Cross to pick up to satisfy that tile is the Kraid missiles. Is that right? I think he's gotten everything else. The Kraid missiles are probably the hardest ones to remember, because when you get assigned collect 60 Brinstar missiles, they're adding up really fast as you go through pink and the green areas. But then, you know, a lot of times people forget that the Kraid portion of the map is actually Brinstar, even though it's separated by that middle Meridia section. So he'll have to pick those up as well to satisfy that tile, but I'm sure he'll get it on his way here. And just in case anybody did not or is not aware of the Kraid missiles, they're actually locked behind power bomb tiles. So, you know, unless you either get them on the way back up after Crocomire, or you get some power bombs at Red Tower first, you're not going to be able to reach them. So luckily, Cross is equipped to deal with that, and he'll be able to grab them as soon as he goes over here.
Aussie's also coming over here to get the Mission Impossible power bombs.
Yeah, nice strat there, too. Cross heading into the Kraid lair area. He's one room away from getting those last missiles. Aussie heading into the Retro Brinstar area, presumably to catch some more power bombs, or potentially, I don't know if he's planning on going over to get that energy tank as well, but definitely for sure he's going to grab these power bombs. And there we have it, the final Brinstar missile. Nicely done by Cross. It looks like he's going to make his way down to kill Kraid now, pick up his various suit, and go from there. Aussie opting not to get anything else from Retro Brinstar other than the Powerbomb pack. He's up to, let's see, how many power bombs does he have now? 25?
Well, he got both Red Towers.
He did.
He got Edicoons.
That's true.
And Mission Impossible as well as the Blue, so we're at 25.
So we're at 25, all right. He picked those up pretty fast.
That was pretty fast. So, of course, landing site is an option. Croc's an option. And, yeah, those Meridia power bombs.
That's right. Cross product cleaning up the Kraid fight very quickly. He was able to get 3 supers for 900 damage in before Kraid stood up. He only needed that one extra missile that was just barely behind on that attempt, but Kraid opened up his mouth there quickly for Cross, and Cross cleaned that fight up quickly. He's in pretty good shape with his ammo. Health is fine, and he's got his various suit, and I would assume would now make his way probably into Norfair. Both runners opting to pick up that Spacer Beam.
So yeah, so I guess now we'll see if Cross wants to go straight to Ridley, or not Ridley, maybe Ridley, but Crocomire from here.
That's a good point. Cross picking up the Kraid tank. This is a great room because not only do you get this energy tank, but you get a nice 4 power bombs as well from those beat-ems. Typically, I think they have a 99.6% chance roughly of dropping power bombs if you're not full on them. So most of the time you're going to be walking out of there with 4 extra. Osse picking up those high jump boots. Gotta love the high jump boots.
So let's think. So right now, Cross has just the 1 reserve.
Correct.
So he's at 5 total of his 11.
That's true.
He'll be picking up the high jump boot tank here in just a moment.
Correct.
As well as maybe the Norfair reserve.
I would assume that that would probably be in the cards. I think the Norfair reserve, if you're trying to get to 11 total, I would call that one easily one of the best of the 11 that you could select from.
All right, so if we're at 5, that puts us at 7. Croc's tank gets us to 8.
Correct.
If we're defeating Ridley, we can get to 9.
Right, and then on top of that, Firefly is an easy 10.
10. So what's the one other E-tank or reserve to go get? Mama Turtle?
Yeah, if he's going to go into Meridia...
He's got to get Mama Turtle anyhow.
Yeah, so that Mama Turtle seems like the logical choice. Plus, depending on how far, you know, this is just a general thing, not necessarily Cross's situation, but depending on how far into Meridia you need to go, you know, Botwoon is a really easy pickup if you have to go all the way to Dragon or something like that. Even if you don't, technically Botwoon's pretty fast, but not necessarily directly in the path if you're not planning to go up there. So I think the ones you named are probably going to be his best bets.
Well, we'll see in just a minute, but I'm gonna make a call here.
You gonna make a bold prediction?
A bold prediction.
What do we got?
The Cross is not getting gravity.
You don't think he's gonna get gravity?
I think he will go suitless to
All right.
wrap this one up.
Well, let's find out. When it comes to cross product, anything is possible. The man knows every trick in the book. To put it into context, cross product knows how to collect 100% of the items in the game without ever pressing dash.
That's right.
Which is like crazy. So there's all kinds of neat tricks that he could bust out on us. Osse now has his speed booster, and he's going to be heading over here, back to Business Center. And he's exiting Norfair. Probably getting ready to make his Meridia run. Cross heading to get some wave beam action here.
Yeah, so that top tile on column 3 is going to make him pick between speed or wave.
He's picking wave.
And he's picking wave.
All right. Now would be a good time to give a shout out to obviously the people tracking, not only for this race but other races as well. Tracking is very difficult to do in double ante bingo, so really appreciate having some people that are taking care of that for us. Trackers are the unsung heroes of all randomizer and DAB tournaments and things like that.
That's right, and I think Link Force was with us last night, so I'm tracking these two. So.
Excellent. All right, Cross showing off that the usefulness of that wave beam there, shooting the blue gate without any issue, not requiring a missile gate glitch. We did see Cross currently opt to not pick up the Norfair reserve.
That's true.
He did not path over there, so we'll see if it's in the cards.
He will come right by it on the way out, though. So
Oh, you're talking about after
Ridley.
After Ridley, yeah, that's a good point. That would be the hundo method. Typically, the hundo route picks it up near the end after you leave Lower North there. Osse getting ready to fight Dragon. We've talked about this before. Dragon is really, I find it kind of like an interesting fight because it's actually pretty simple. Like the script for pulling it off is fairly simple. However, the smallest mistake really gets you off rhythm, and it can like go south really quickly.
Looks like Osse is trying to get some special beam action going.
Let's go. Let's go. Giving the people what they want. I don't know what you call that, SBA, and even if I did know what people call it, I'm not gonna say it. But we got some special beam action here.
And Dragon just says no.
Dragon's like, I'm not worried about spacer beam. And there goes Crocomire. And down goes Dragon. Now, since Cross does not have the speed booster here.
I think he may have forgotten.
Well, no, he can still get up here. He's just going to have to infinite bomb jump.
Certainly.
Yeah, so, but it might have been faster. It just depends on how quickly you think you can pull off green gate glitches and stuff. There's an alternative method to get up here if you don't have the speed booster, or like, you know, for example, a space jump. And that would be to green gate glitch at the top and then run across a few rooms. But this is actually pretty fast.
No, this is good.
Yeah, he's doing well.
You know, and I think that
Very nice.
in that dashless hundo, there's a lot of IBJs.
Yeah, I'm sure there is. But yeah, Cross got his grappling beam, a very useful item actually. Serves many purposes in multiple areas. Osse, in the meantime, has finished Dragon and collected space jump, so he does have space jump, speed booster, and high jump boots, one of the cornerstones of the row he was assigned. I guess we're going to have, or at least that my assumption would be, that Cross is going to get ready to, after he gets this power bomb pack, he's probably going to get ready to hit up Lower Norfair. What do you think, Mass?
That would be my assumption.
All right, let's see it.
I think so.
If so, we're going to get to see a cool lava dive. It is good that he has multiple energy tanks. I think that makes things a lot better.
Yeah.
But what you got to remember is, in terms of Lower Norfair damage, the Various suit only will block 50% of what people are accustomed to with Gravity suit. So everything down there can do a lot of damage. Everything in Lower Norfair pretty much hits like a truck. So even with the Gravity suit, for example, those key hunters will do 50 damage. That means with Various suit only, you're losing a tank just to get hit by one key hunter.
Yeah.
Also, you're not going down there with Spazer, so you can't really clip through anything. And then if he opts to not pick up the screw attack, well, he's not immune. So we'll see what he chooses to do. Those 6 energy tanks really, in terms of you know, applicable damage or what people are accustomed to, it's really more like half that.
All right, here we go.
Got a lava dive happening as well as a plasma beam pickup.
Ooh.
He's still okay. He just needs to take it nice and easy. He's got the high jump boots. A couple wall jumps here. And let's go.
Yeah.
Nicely done. One small funny thing, Osse, if you look at his screen, every time he's firing these plasma beams, it's only the one single shot. You don't see that a ton in traditional speedruns because usually you'd have wave beam by this juncture.
Mm-hmm.
But since he wasn't able to pick up wave beam, or maybe didn't have a reason to pick it up, we see a neat beam that we don't normally get to see. As you can see, there was no reason for Cross to set up a fast pillars attempt because he doesn't have speed boosters. So he ran right into the room, going to drop two power bombs, hugged up against those walls, and that'll get him through the room. And now he's got to do worst room in the game also without the speed booster. Like the play, killing all the pirates on the walls here. He's going to get a very specific wall jump here. He's got to do a bit of a delayed wall jump to make that ledge. Oh, very close. That was it. Very nice. Osse heading back to Meridia here.
I think we're about to find Osse is about to wrap up.
He's getting close.
He's heading to landing site to get those power bombs, and that may be it.
And GG. This is actually a unique circumstance. Most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time in DAB, when you get assigned a row or a column, you only end up completing 9 objectives because you're usually trying to find something that...
Some synergy.
Yeah, some synergy that already includes one of your tiles. In this case, he's actually going to complete 2 separate rows, which means he's going to have to complete 10 total tiles. But, you know, just because there's an extra tile doesn't mean it's always slower, because sometimes the 10 tiles will have more synergy than potential 9 combination. And as we can see, the damage in Lower Norfair coming to fruition here. Cross obviously lost a lot of health in the lava dive, but also taking a few hits here in Lower Norfair. And they do a lot of damage, so hopefully he can be careful here and make it through these rooms without much issue. Ooh, careful, that mosquito can't jump down there if he's not careful. Okay, good. And he's going to pick up the power bombs of shame. Why are these called the power bombs of shame? Yes.
Well, before we get to that, I believe that is done.
That is a dot done for Osse. GG. Well done.
But yes, the power bombs of shame are named as such because in the normal any percent run, there's some ways where you can find yourself with enough power bombs to maybe get more aggressive when breaking blocks coming in. And,
right.
At the same time, it's very common to accidentally or to not get those drops right and find yourself short on power bombs, or to get confused and accidentally drop one when you shouldn't.
That's true.
In which case, there's one little side set of power bombs you can run over there and get. And those are the power bombs of shame.
That's it. While we're having crossproduct finish his run, if Osse would like to come over and do a quick interview, we'll have him. Cross getting ready for the most exciting part of this run, fighting Ridley. But this will move Osse on and further into the winner's bracket of our DAB tournament. And crossproduct is not done yet. He will be moving into the loser's bracket, but that does not mean that his tournament is over. Osse, come on in, bud. GG.
Yeah, GG.
We'll let Cross do his Ridley fight here real quick, and then afterwards we'll ask you some questions.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man. How are you?
I'm good.
So I'm really hoping Cross is careful here because he's going to be taking a lot of damage from Ridley. If I recall correctly, with Gravity Suit, Ridley's tail does 30 and the body 40. So here the tail will be doing 60 and the body 80. So that damage can add up very quickly. He does have, however, the new route beam combination. So each one of these shots should be doing 300 damage. If he only used beam shots, that would be, I think, a total of 60 shots to kill Ridley. But he does have some supers to use as well that do double damage. So that brings the number down to 40 charge shots if he doesn't use any regular missiles. Having a nice controlled fight here. That might be a fast swoop. Yeah. Sometimes you can tell, I don't know how to explain it, but sometimes if you watch Ridley's movement, if he moves a certain way up, he's going to give you a fast swoop, which can be very dangerous, but Cross handled that very well.
It seems to me when he hangs around the left side a little longer.
Yeah, there's just a certain rhythm to it that over time you just kind of naturally feel it happening.
It hits you every time, and you remember every time it hits.
Exactly. And usually before you get hit, you think, I'm about to get hit.
Yep. That happens too.
All right, excellent job on the Ridley fight. So, Aussie, first question. GG, how did you feel about the card? Tell us about your performance. It looked like you routed really smoothly. What'd you feel about your run?
I liked my route. I guess the hardest part was trying to count 35 power bombs.
Yeah, of course.
Because I don't know the number of items in each location off the top of my head, so I have to think about it. So I ended up adding 25 in Brinstar. Criteria has one. Meridia has one. And I had the Croc power bombs as backup. And I had lots of time to think about it on my way down to Norfair. And that's part of why I went to Brinstar instead of going up through Brinstar after Meridia, is so I could think a bit.
That's a good call. We were talking about earlier with Dab, it's like you have to think constantly. Here, let's scoot over just a little bit so Aussie can get a little bit more in the camera there. There we go. So, yeah, this is kind of a really interesting category because obviously it's, there's speedrun elements to it, but there's a lot of cerebral things happening along the way where you really got to think about how to route and what's going to work well for you.
There's a lot of beforehand knowledge to know, too.
Exactly. Yeah, tell us a little bit about why you selected the road that you assigned to Cross.
I can't quite read everything that was in it, but I think the main things was the defeat Ridley and then finish in Mama Turtle.
Yeah.
Because that's just a lot of travel time, and you also have to prepare for the Ridley fight.
Yeah. That's a great point. The Ridley in and of itself, it's not just kill Ridley, it's all the things you got to collect to try to make it work and stuff like that. So it's kind of one of those tiles that takes a long time and is very dangerous. Cross picking up that Firefly E-Tank like we talked about earlier. What's his number at right now? That's 8 energy tanks and I think 1 reserve so far?
That is correct.
So he needs 2 more.
So we can assume Norfair Reserve,
Norfair Reserve,
Tank.
Mama Turtle Tank. Suitless, no less. Which I gotta say, I think that's really cool. I don't think we've seen any suitless yet in any Super Metroid here at SG Live, so this is cool to see.
Yeah. I did consider going for the Moon Dance.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, that let me not have to revisit Brinstar.
Yeah, that especially in Dab, that has a lot of uses where it can be very powerful in terms of not forcing you to go to Red Tower and then having to backtrack.
Yeah, so that would be something that I'd have to look into, how much time it saves versus how much it costs. And if you go from Red Tower back or take the route I took, which is down the Criteria elevator again to Greenbrand. And just look into which is fastest.
Yeah, a lot of times it's like, you have a few options while you're running, and it's probably a scenario you haven't necessarily been in before, and so it's kind of hard to tell exactly which one's going to be the quickest. So that's the cool thing about Dab. Tell us a little bit. I mean, you're a very experienced runner of Super Metroid. Obviously, I would say, based on, your experience with, you're the #1 seed here at the Link to the Past Randomizer Tournament. You're obviously a very well-known Link to the Past player. But obviously, too, you're a very experienced Super Metroid player, not only in terms of any percent speedruns, but you've done a lot of randomizer. Tell us a little bit about your take on maybe the key differences between randomizer and Dab. I'm sure there's some crossover skills, but what do you think are kind of like areas where they're a little bit different from one another?
There is crossover, yes. I'd say Dab feels more like vanilla. Often, maybe the first half of the race, you're doing one of the any percent routes. But a randomizer, you'd have a different item set going through that area. But it is still like randomizer. No, I don't know. I'd have to think about it.
I guess maybe there's some elements with the routing, you know, like sometimes you don't, I know you adjust on the fly to new information in a randomizer, but at least in DAB, it's like sometimes you remember things and kind of figure out how to route it.
And there are a couple of tricks that carry over. So that's part of why I went to sponge bath before getting gravity.
Ah, yes.
Gravity's probably faster. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll admit you made me a little nervous. You performed excellently, but I always get nervous every time a runner goes into Spiky Room of Death with one energy tank and no suits. So you did great there, and you didn't have any trouble getting that wreck ship energy tank. But the sponge bath strat itself is a little precise, so I applaud you for going for that in the middle of the race. Oh, we got some cool tech. You're probably more equipped to explain what's happening here than anybody else. So tell us what we're seeing here.
Okay, so above the screen, there are a couple of shop blocks. And because Cross has wave and spazer, he can hit those blocks. And you need to shoot, I think the number is 16, but it's up there. And once you've hit that many blocks, then the thing that is tracking the speed blocks is overloaded. It's overworked, and so they can't work, and that lets you just pass through them.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's actually in the grand scheme of Super Metroid, like quite recent tech. That was not discovered until maybe like a year ago or so.
Probably not even.
Yeah, it's pretty new, so it's actually quite helpful in a lot of rando situations to avoid reverse hell runs, and also saves time in other ways. But Cross, giving the people what they want to see, the suitless Meridia action for the first and potentially only time.
That's right.
At SG Live 2019. Going to use some great ice beam tech and crouch jumps. One small thing to know if you are not familiar with Super Metroid speedrunning or Super Metroid physics, Samus will actually jump slightly higher if you crouch before you jump.
Yep.
So here in this particular room, he's trying to freeze this crab, get on top of it, get the fish, because if you look at the fish, it oscillates up and down as well. So he's trying to freeze the fish when it's on the down slope, and then he's trying to jump and down grab as well. So there's a lot of small nuances happening here that make this possible. There we go. Nicely done. Getting up this room, using multiple crabs at different junctures to climb. And then he will find his way to the Mama Turtle room to, I believe, collect his final energy tank as well as his finishing locations.
Right.
This is a really nice performance by Cross. The road that he was assigned is exceptionally difficult and slow, and he's managed this really well. I like the he's just going to let go, but when you have the ice wave spazer combo, you can just have a charge shot at the ready, jump down there and let go, and it'll get that fish every time. I like that.
So now he just has to get this tank.
And that's it. And I do want to give a quick shout out to Cross. Cross is a very, very busy man here at SGLive 2019. Not only has he been doing A Link to the Past randomizer runs, he's also helping with the marathon, and he's been doing SM runs with us. So he has had a very, very, very long day, and we appreciate him coming in to get his races in. All right, that's it.
Do it.
GG. Nicely done.
GG.
Cross, we know you're a tired man. If you're interested in talking with us for a few minutes, you can. Or if you need to get going, that's fine too.
I should probably get downstairs.
All right. The man never stops working.
Yes,
So-
I think people that want to see more cross product can find him on the marathon here.
That's true, yeah.
Just a minute.
Right. And so just to give you guys a quick update on Super Metroid DAB, and also just Super Metroid in general here at SG Live, a lot of our races here at night are getting restreamed, and then during the day we're doing a lot offline. I think the 80% tournament has developed to the point where I think maybe 3 of the 7 players have been knocked out. So we got a few races to go. Up next, I believe, is it the winners bracket final for the DAB so far? I know you and I have to race.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's you and I racing, and then whoever wins will be in like the finals of that tournament, and then whoever loses will be in the finals of the losers bracket part. So at some point tomorrow, Ossie and I will be racing some Super Metroid DAB, but we got to make sure that it doesn't get in the way of your Legend of Zelda stuff because you got a lot of races doing that tomorrow as well. So what's your day tomorrow looking like, Ossie?
It's looking like a lot of practice, and I'll have to see how they're organizing the Link to the Past matches.
Cool. Sounds good. Well, just keep us posted, and we'll work with your schedule. But, yeah, that was a lot of fun. Appreciate the interview, Ossie, and good luck tomorrow with everything you have going on. And thanks again to Cross. Mass, you got anything else you want to add?
No, just a good time, and looking forward to more, and getting to see Ossie perform in this Link to the Past.
Yeah, you're going to have all the SM guys rooting for you, I'm sure. So go get them tomorrow. Awesome. And one final thing, Lunaris, we want to shout out Lunaris, who is the person that donated to make this tournament happen here at SG Live and has been working really hard on updating the card and balancing things out. See you, Cross. Have a good night. So thank you, Lunaris, for everything that you've done for DAB. And we're going to cut to a break at this point, so we'll see you soon. Thank you very much.